Have you ever felt that silent restlessness that accompanies you even in seemingly peaceful moments? That inner voice that whispers doubts, provokes insecurity, and makes you question every decision, every relationship, every choice? It's almost like walking a tightrope, trying to maintain balance between what we want and what we fear. The truth is, this feeling is more common than we imagine, and much of the suffering comes precisely from trying to control the uncontrollable. People, situations, expectations. But what if there were a way to transform this insecurity into real, lasting confidence? Detachment emerges as a powerful tool for this. It's not about disconnecting from the world or the people we love, but about creating clarity, organizing priorities, strengthening bonds with empathy, and, above all, developing an inner security that allows us to act with awareness and serenity. In the following lines, we'll explore how small changes, daily practices, and deep reflection can free you from the weight of insecurity, allowing trust, gratitude, and balance to guide every step of your journey. Prepare to discover that true control lies in learning to let go. The first step: create distance. Distancing yourself may sound cold at first, but in practice, it's a gesture of self-care. When we're neck-deep in situations or relationships, we lose perspective, and insecurity quickly takes over. Creating a little space is like standing up from the audience and observing the play from the balcony. Suddenly, details become clearer, emotions seem less suffocating, and reflection emerges naturally. This distance isn't abandonment, it's clarity. How many times have you noticed that, after a long walk alone, problems seem smaller? This is the power of distancing, restoring clarity where before there was only noise. Of course, this step isn't always easy to take. The mind insists on clinging to emotions as if they were absolute truths. But detachment begins precisely there, with the courage to take a deep breath and position yourself as an observer. Try setting aside 10 minutes a day to simply sit in silence, without your cell phone, without distractions, simply paying attention to how you feel. It seems simple, but this practice creates space for confidence to gradually return, like a visitor knocking on the door without rushing. Over time, you'll find this habit becomes essential for dealing with relationships, important decisions, and even the insecurity that persists. Distancing doesn't sever bonds. It strengthens them because it restores the clarity needed to choose how to act. Choose your companies well. Life is truly like a long voyage at sea. Some people arrive to be a driving force, others to test our resilience amidst storms. And, let's face it, insecurity grows when we can't distinguish between those who are truly by our side out of affinity and those who are simply taking up space. Healthy relationships act as firm anchors on turbulent days. Toxic ones drag us into rough seas without warning. Choosing our companions wisely is more than just a friendly relationship or a friendly atmosphere. It's about aligning our values, strengthening our self-confidence, and ensuring our journey is in harmony with what we consider essential. Of course, this doesn't mean cutting ties like someone carelessly pruning a tree. It does mean reflecting on the quality of the relationships we nurture. Ask yourself, who inspires me to be better? Who inspires gratitude simply by being present? And who, on the contrary, leaves me in a constant state of alert and insecurity? When we learn to observe with empathy, but also with firmness, we gain the freedom to cultivate bonds that elevate our energy and let go of those that only drain us. This process of conscious choice may even hurt, but it is a shift that opens space for stronger, deeper, and truly transformative relationships. The value of a confidant. Having someone you trust to share your thoughts with is like finding a beacon in the fog. When insecurity hits, we're tempted to keep everything to ourselves, believing it makes us stronger. But in reality, it's the opposite. Silencing emotions weighs even more heavily. Talking to a confidant doesn't mean seeking ready-made solutions, but allowing our own reflections to echo back. Often, simply putting what's inside into words can provide immense relief. It's as if the mental clutter gradually clears, making room for clarity and serenity. And this confidant can take many forms. A true friend, a mentor, a therapist, or even the pages of a journal. The important thing is that it be a space of trust, where vulnerability is not judged but welcomed. Try writing about how you feel at the end of the day without censorship, or schedule a coffee date with that person who always listens with empathy. These small gestures dispel the emotional distance that isolates us and transform insecurity into learning. It is in this human, or paper, mirror that we rediscover our essence and realize that we don't have to face the storms alone. Limit the domain of emotions. Emotions are like waves. Inevitable, intense, and sometimes overwhelming. The problem is when we believe we're at their mercy, like a rudderless boat. This is when insecurity often sets in, convincing us we're hostages to our feelings. But the truth is, we don't need to stifle emotions or let them take over. The secret lies in recognizing their presence, embracing them, and then consciously deciding how to act. A practical example? Instead of responding to an annoying message in the heat of anger, give yourself a few minutes to breathe. This simple yet powerful pause restores the confidence that you have choices. Learning to limit the control of emotions isn't about blocking the heart, but about educating the mind. The Stoics called this maintaining serenity amidst chaos, something that sounds far-fetched but can be practiced daily. Practices like meditation, breathing exercises, or even a quiet walk help transform internal storms into navigable seas. When we view emotions as visitors, not permanent tyrants, we begin to live with more balance. Gradually, reflection becomes natural, and that feeling of insecurity fades, giving way to the calm confidence that sustains our relationships and choices. Assess the consequences of detachment. Letting go isn't an impulsive act. It's a conscious decision that requires calm and reflection. Often, insecurity creeps in precisely because we fear what comes next. What if I regret it? What if this choice pushes someone important away? These questions echo in our minds and can paralyze us. Therefore, evaluating the consequences of letting go is essential. Before acting, take time to consider the possible outcomes, like someone analyzing the moves on a chessboard. This strategic pause brings clarity, prevents regrets, and strengthens the confidence that you're making the decision most aligned with your well-being. A simple exercise is to list the pros and cons in a notebook, taking your time, even writing down the emotions that arise during the process. This practice helps transform diffuse feelings into practical clarity. And it's not just about thinking about yourself, but also about considering how your choices might affect others. This balance between self-care and empathy is what makes letting go a transformative change, not a sudden gesture of distancing. Gradually, you'll realize that true freedom isn't in breaking up without thinking, but in acting thoughtfully, cultivating gratitude for what you've experienced and confidence in what's yet to come. Social media break. The constant noise of social media has a surprisingly quiet effect. It reinforces insecurities, comparisons, and haste. Each notification feels like a call to evaluate our lives against others, and this can leave us anxious, disconnected from ourselves, and even distant from important relationships. Taking a step back from this digital flow isn't about isolating yourself from the world, but about making room to rediscover your own voice. Try a simple challenge. For a few hours a day, turn off notifications and notice how your mind begins to breathe. The clarity that emerges is impressive. You rediscover thoughts, emotions, and reflections that were drowned out by the external noise. This break also strengthens inner confidence. Without constant comparisons, we learn to value our achievements, our learnings, and even the small mistakes that teach us lessons. Take advantage of this time to invest in nourishing reading, quick meditations, or simply walking without a phone. These moments show that it's possible to live connected to yourself without relying on your feed for validation or security. Gradually, you'll notice that insecurity diminishes and your sense of control over your life increases. More than that, the relationships that truly matter gain ground, making each interaction more meaningful, empathetic, and genuine. Prioritize the essentials. Amidst the excess of commitments, objects, and information, insecurity arises, as if we're always chasing something that's never enough. Detachment, in this scenario, acts as a lens that allows us to see what truly matters. Relationships, learning, and experiences that nourish the soul. By prioritizing the essential, we learn to say no to the superfluous without guilt, to value simple moments, and to invest energy in what generates growth and well-being. It's like cleaning up the clutter at home. Only what is useful and meaningful remains, leaving room for us to breathe easily. A practical way to start is to list, each week, what truly makes a difference in your life and eliminate or reduce what merely consumes time and energy. Ask yourself, does this bring me closer to what I consider essential? If the answer is no, it's time to let go. This practice strengthens inner confidence, reduces insecurity, and helps create more genuine relationships, as we only keep close those and what truly adds value. Gradually, you'll notice that life becomes clearer, more organized, and fulfilling, leaving anxiety and excessive expectations behind, and making room for what truly matters. Practice gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful tool for transforming insecurity into a sense of abundance. When we focus on what we already have, the people who support us, the lessons learned, and even the difficulties overcome, our perspective changes. What once seemed missing now reveals itself as a solid foundation for confidence and growth. A simple yet transformative habit is to write down 3 things you're grateful for every day. These can be small achievements, gestures of affection, or moments of reflection. Over time, this practice teaches us to appreciate the present and realize that life, even with its challenges, offers precious resources that often go unnoticed. Furthermore, gratitude helps us see insecurity from a different perspective. Instead of focusing on the fear of what might go wrong, we begin to realize how much we've already accomplished and how capable we are of handling complex situations. Sharing this gratitude with others also strengthens bonds and creates deeper, more empathetic relationships. Try sending a sincere message to someone who made a difference in your life or mentally thanking them for a moment that brought you learning. Small gestures of appreciation lift our spirits, reduce anxiety, and show us that confidence and happiness often arise from the simple act of gratitude. Embrace change. Life is impermanent, and it is precisely this characteristic that fuels insecurity when we try to control the uncontrollable. Resisting change only increases anxiety and distances us from what is essential. Embracing change doesn't mean losing our principles or forgetting who we are, but accepting the natural flow of things and seeing each challenge as an opportunity to mature. Practicing this acceptance requires mindfulness. Observe the signs of adaptation that life offers and reflect on how each change can enrich your experience and strengthen your confidence. A useful exercise is to map small changes in our daily lives and analyze how we react to them. For example, adjusting our work routine, trying a new hobby, or talking to different people. These seemingly simple steps teach us that adaptation is a learning experience, not a loss. By dealing with change consciously, insecurity diminishes and the sense of control increases, creating space for more balanced decisions. Furthermore, those who embrace change develop empathy for themselves and others, understanding that we are all subject to challenges, mistakes, and constant transformations, making life richer and relationships more meaningful. Empathy and sharing. Detachment isn't synonymous with cold isolation. On the contrary, it's a transformation that strengthens bonds and deepens relationships. When we cultivate empathy, we can put ourselves in another person's shoes without losing our essence, and the insecurity that often makes us doubt human connection softens. Sharing experiences, feelings, and challenges creates a space of mutual trust, where each act of care is a building block in the construction of solid and meaningful relationships. This movement shows us that being connected isn't dependence, but a form of joint growth, where everyone learns and grows stronger. Practicing empathy in everyday life can be simple. Truly listening without interrupting, offering help when we perceive a need, or simply validating feelings without trying to fix everything. Every action, no matter how small, reduces insecurity and strengthens trust, both our own and the other person's. Sharing also includes moments of gratitude and recognition, showing that we value those around us. When we perceive the positive effect of this sharing, we feel more secure and centered, realizing that human relationships, when built with care, are an inexhaustible source of learning, support, and emotional well-being. Take care of body and mind. The balance of detachment also involves caring for our body and mind. When we are physically exhausted or mentally distracted, insecurity flourishes, making our decisions more impulsive and our emotions more intense. Regular exercise, maintaining a balanced diet, and setting aside time for rest are not luxuries but necessities. Furthermore, incorporating meditation, reflective reading, or breathing techniques helps calm the mind, allowing thoughts and feelings to be observed clearly without being overwhelmed by them. Self-care thus becomes a foundation for sustaining conscious choices and healthy relationships. Small daily habits can lead to big transformations. Start by dedicating 10 minutes a day to stretching or a light walk, or establish a consistent sleep routine. Also try writing down your feelings, such as in a journal, or simply breathing deeply when facing stressful moments. These practices strengthen inner confidence, reduce insecurity, and allow for more serene reflection on life. When body and mind are nourished, we are able to face challenges, make balanced decisions, and embrace detachment consciously, promoting a fuller and more harmonious life. We've reached the end of this journey of reflection on insecurity, trust, and detachment, but true transformation begins when you decide to put it all into practice. Ask yourself, which relationships need more conscious attention? Which habits reinforce my insecurity and which strengthen my confidence? How can I cultivate gratitude, empathy, and self-care in my daily life to live with greater serenity? These questions don't have ready-made answers, but they are invitations to action, small decisions that, together, create significant changes. Now is the time to act. Try setting aside moments for reflection, practicing empathy, limiting the control of emotions, and prioritizing the essentials in your life. Observe how conscious distancing and detachment can open space for clarity, connection, and personal growth. And remember, every step you take toward balance strengthens your inner confidence and transforms your relationship with the world. If you want to continue receiving insights that help you cultivate a fuller, more secure life, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to stay up to date with content that inspires action and reflection. Transformation is possible, you just have to take the first step.